dependency. The understanding of acquisition, power, position, anxiety, all that. The emptying of that is the real death. And therefore, the emptying of consciousness means the consciousness which has created its own limitation by its content comes to an end. I wonder.
Yes, yes. Yes, you have. I was following you very carefully, and it occurred to me that there is a radical relation between birth and death. That the two, when they are looked upon as moments in a total cycle, are not grasped at the depth level that you're beginning to speak about.
Yes, sir.
Am I correct?
That's correct.
Good. Please do go on.
So, death becomes a living when the content of consciousness, which makes its own frontier, its own limitation, comes to an end.
Mm-hmm.
And that this is not a theory, not a speculative intellectual grasp, but the actual perception of attachment. I'm taking that as an example. Being attached to something, property, man, woman, the book I have written, or the knowledge I acquired, the attachment.
Mm-hmm.
And the battle to be detached.
Mm-hmm.
Because attachment breeds pain. Therefore, I say to myself, I must be detached. And the battle begins. And the whole content of my consciousness is this, the battle which we described previously.
Yes.
Now, can that content be emptied, empty itself? Not emptied by an act of perception. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Empty itself, which means can this whole content be observed with its unconscious content? You follow, sir?
Yes, I do. I'm
there
thinking...
is conscious. I can be consciously aware of the content of my consciousness.
Yes.
My house, my property, my wife, my children, my job, the things I've acquired, the things I've learned. I can be consciously aware of all that. But also there is deeper content in the very recesses of my mind, which is racial, collective, acquired, the things that unconsciously I have gathered, the influences, the pressures, the strains of living in a world that's corrupt, all that is seeped in, all that is gathered in there.
Both personal and impersonal.
Yes. That's
this includes then what the depth psychologists are calling collective
I don't know what they call it.
As well as the personal consciousness.
Collective as well.
Right.
So that is that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can all that be exposed? Because this is very important. Because if I really want to go, if the mind really wants to understand and grasp the full meaning of death, the vastness of it, the great quality of a mind that says, yes, that's empty, it gives it tremendous vitality, energy. So, my question is, can the mind be aware totally of all the content, hidden as well as the open? The collective, the personal, the racial, the transitory. The whole of that. Now, we say it is possible through analysis.
Yes, we do.
I said analysis paralysis. Because every analysis must be perfect, complete. And you are frightened that it might not be complete. And if you have not completed it, you carry it over as a memory, which will then analyze the next incident. So each analysis brings its own incompleteness.
Oh, certainly, yes.
Therefore, it is a total paralysis.
In following what you're saying, I'm very taken with what we usually regard as death, which has a very clear relationship to what you've said about the endless series of analytical acts.
Yes, sir.
We regard death as a terminus in terms of a line.
Right.
And
because we think laterally.
We think laterally, exactly. But what you're saying is, on the contrary, we must regard this vertically.
Yes.
And in the regarding of it vertically, we no longer see, please check me if I'm off here, we no longer see death as simply a moment of termination to a certain trajectory of repetition. But there is a total qualitative change here, which is not the cessation of something that we have to regret, as though we'd lost something valuable.
Yes, I'm leaving my wife and children.
Right.
And my property, my blasted blank account. You see, sir,
yes.
This is really, if one can go very deeply into this, there is this content, which is my consciousness. Acquired, inherited, imposed, influenced, propaganda, attachment, detachment, anxiety, fear, pleasure, all that. And also the hidden things. I'm asking myself, since analysis is really paralysis, not an intellectual supposition, but actually it is not a complete act. Analysis can never produce complete act. The very word analysis means to break up, the breaking up.
To loosen up.
Loosen up, break it up. Therefore, I reject that totally. I won't analyze, because I see this, the stupidity, the paralytic process of it. Then what am I to do? You follow? Because that is the tradition. Introspective or paralysis, analysis by myself or by a professional, which is now the fashion, and so on, so on, so on. So what if the mind sees the truth of it, and therefore analysis falls away, then what is the mind to do with the content?
Yes, I do see that.
We know what the content is. We don't have eternally described. Now what is it to do? It has to be emptied. Otherwise, it's mere continuity.
No, there's no use analyzing what is already there, because that will not change what is there in any way, shape, or form. No. That seems to be very, very plain. Although perhaps you would for a moment explain why we simply refuse to see that. We